Dan has zero instinct as a radio person. Zero. We're about to go on there, and he gives Joe something that he would have to pay attention to for 20 minutes to truly enjoy.
I'm hoping Joe would do his Harry Callis.
Why? Up front. I'll ask him. I'll say, Joe, do your Harry Callis. Needs a CD to do it?
Where did you get that?
Okay, here we go. I don't want to talk about it.
All right.
Dan, why would you do that? And then he goes over and goes, we're on.
I was trying to think what equivalent.
We're on.
What would be equivalent to giving Artie right before he's about to do his podcast? Bob Shepard's greatest hits.
Yeah, I mean, I would have to go, why are you giving me this? Is there something? Is it a practical joke? And I think this guy's a gay guy in the Republican National Convention. And then he sits down, and was that for my benefit to get right on the air? That you said we're on the air while he's still looking at the CD? He was still looking at it, and Dan goes, we're on! With a smile on his face, like that, a Joker smile epoxied to his face. We're on! And Joe goes, how do I do this? Like the audience goes, what the fuck he's talking about? The first thing Joe goes, how do you get this? What do you do? Where'd you get this?
I don't say what
That's the first fucking thing the audience heard. It's Joe going, where do you get this? And then I go, why would you give him that? I hope you do his Harry Callis. Then nobody knows what the fuck we're talking about. Here's what happened. It was a 4-hour wait before we went on the air. Dan decides the second before we go on the air to give Joe a Harry Callis CD. Just Joe Matarese. Joe Matarese does a great Harry Callis. A very good Harry Callis. Great Harry Callis. And he's done it before on the show. So all you have to do is ask him. I'll say, do your Harry Callis. At any time, I could do that. He's good enough to he'll go into it. I have confidence in him. And then he knows I'm impatient, and he just goes, we're on. Why did you go immediately into we're on? Because you were worried I was nervous.
I wanted to see what kind of gold would come out.
Well, why would you give him? You know why? Would you have other CDs of every noise on the computer because we can't play them? Why is the computer in front of you?
I wanted it for news just in case something happened.
I'm looking at it.
Well,
I have what's going to go on there that's not on here?
I don't know.
Except Facebook alerts in your life.
I don't have Facebook.
Oh, look, my friend in Chicago just got his hair done. Look, Joe's got a Harry Callis CD.
It's good to see so much has changed.
Monica, people are all looking. Steve Torelli's going, what's he talking about? Cut to Twitter. Well, Artie's podcast is getting confusing. I'm going to cancel it. Then cancel it, fuckface. Give a shit about you. I guess I made some sort of Ice Cube joke or something about the guy Ice Cube. The rapper Ice Cube has the word ice in his fucking name, and I got to take him seriously. Ice Cube. There's a song from NWA called Kill the Police or Fuck the Police. And I said, well, maybe it's a good idea for maybe I'm not. He's got $400 million. Maybe he should not do that in a concert. Maybe, maybe not a good idea. And a guy, a black kid who follows me on Twitter, I don't know, it says something, freedom of speech dot whatever, some bullshit name. And it goes, okay, Ice Cube can't sing what he wants to sing, but it's okay for you to be a rebel on stage. And I don't believe any joke I ever told got a cop killed. Fucking unbelievable. So I'm in a Twitter war with him. Volatile times. He's actually a nice kid. We talked it out. We talked it out. I knew a lot of details about my career. I didn't realize you knew. He knew about the video. Did I mention the video that Anthony Cumia saw on the air?
Yes.
I did?
Yes.
Very exciting news in my career, Joe. While Aziz Ansari got 4 Emmy nominations. Here's what I found out. Anthony Cumia had to go to a wife battering class because of that bullshit with, blah, blah, blah.
Yeah.
Everybody's okay in the situation, so I don't mind bringing it up. First thing he sees is a video about, how in our pop culture, people can be misogynist and, influence misogyny, hatred of women. Mm-hmm. First thing is a bit from my DVD, It's the Whiskey Talking. I used to do it. It's one of my favorite fucking bits, and I hope they ask me to defend it because they'll have to say it. They'll have to say what it's about, and when they say what it's about, I'm gonna laugh every time. If I'm on the Huffington Post, where I'm a regular, by the way, and they say, I'll go, what's the bit about? What are you talking about? I want them to describe what it's about because I'll laugh every time. I'll tell you what it's gonna be like. In the 11th grade, I was in a women's class called Miss Fullcomer. I eventually got kicked out of the class. That's the reason I didn't graduate high school. You could have killed somebody and not get kicked out of her class. What got me kicked out of her class eventually was I bought a green 44 Magnum water pistol in two guys' department store. My buddy Frank Remo stole a canoe and then got caught the next day trying to steal the oars. I had a full Magnum full of water behind my book. First time I ever used my book. I used it as a fortress. Right behind, she was at the podium talking about sociology. The Lenni Lenape Indians, okay? And she was she was a very nervous woman. I think her husband was a politician. She was very nervous. She blinked a lot. And I hit her in the face with the water pistol every third sentence. I had it underneath like this.
She couldn't tell
She knew what was happening. She was afraid of us. She was afraid of all the black kids. The black kids did anything they wanted. And she was just afraid of them. Racism I was against. And my buddy Leslie Dixon, black kid, actually works for Atlantic Records now. Moved to the ATL. Yeah, she would go, and then the Lenni Lenape Indians and
she just kept going.
I kept, well, after like after the fifth time, she went, "Oh, you've got to get out. You've got to get out of the class." I was like, "Oh, you're chucking me. Get out of the class."
You're chucking me.
That's what I said.
I can hear you saying
You're chucking me.
You're chucking me.
I had a shirt on that said, "And on the eighth day, God created Molly Hatchet." Yeah, that's exactly what he did.
I thought you had a Black Lives Matter shirt.
No. I would have been way too progressive.
He's really ahead of his time.
I'm still on I Can't Breathe. That is the greatest debate. That is the greatest debate. The Black Lives Matter, All Lives Matter. Two people sounding retarded on both sides. That's what we're wasting time on. Black Lives Matter, All Lives Matter. Shut the fuck up, you idiots. Some lives do not matter. They don't matter. They don't matter. I've been in rehab with a bunch of people whose lives don't matter. Black, white, green, every other color. Oh, there's some people. I'll take you to my rehab and group therapy, and you'll go, yeah, that kid's life doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. It's better if he's not here. He talks about his kids and how White Castle, if he makes 3 more hours of White Castle, it benefits, like a dental.
What did the great Bill Hicks say?
Yeah.
We're missing a doorknob. Is that what he called them? Yeah. We're missing if you're something about hearing lyrics on a record and that made them jump off a building.
Right.
And the mom was upset, and he's like, "We're missing a doorknob."
Yeah. It's stupid. Yeah, right. You're catering to stupid people. Hicks' whole theme was that's why he was so brilliant. He had no tolerance for dumbness, and people try to make people change their, jokes, art, songs, whatever the fuck you want to call it, because you cater to people who don't get it, stupid people. Like the people who thought All in the Family was, like Archie Bunker, Carol O'Connor really was that guy, like those people. They don't get it, so we got to change our fucking life. So I kept hitting this woman in the face, and but the first time I met her, this is the kind of laughter I'm going to have when I have to explain my joke on Huffington Post. We went to the class. The first day of her class, she tried to be the cool teacher. She said, if one of you has a nickname, I'll call you by your nickname. So I'll be like one of the guys or girls. So nobody write down a nickname. But me and the black kid, Leslie Dixon, and I guess I used to, from now on, I'll just call him a kid, so I don't have to quantify him. Leslie's a black kid. My Irish friend Mike and my I-type friend Danny. We're all in the back, and I said, I'm going to write down that my nickname's Skipper and see if she calls me that. And, Leslie said, dude, if she calls you that, I ain't going to make it, man. Yeah, I'm not going to be able to take it. I go, I know, but let's just see. She probably won't do it. She's just not going to fall for that. So I wrote down Skipper. First day, first class. I didn't even know what question she answered. She asked, I don't know what the fuck. I know the answer to it anyway. First thing she said, so who thinks that about the Lenni Lenape Indians? I put up my hand. She looked at me and went, Skipper. And then me, Leslie, and the 2 other kids laughed for 14 minutes. We fell off our chairs laughing.
Skipper. Was that your first? It's such a perfect
I don't know. I just thought, what's the goofiest name?
That's the best perfect name. Skipper.
I was thinking, I must have just watched All in the Family or something. But, Joe, I'm telling you, for 2 weeks, she called me Skipper. Every question, I raised my hand. And the students that liked the class were trying to learn. They kind of got mad. Don't answer him. The woman's name, not lying, Miss Fullcomer. Miss Fully Come on my face. That's what we call it. Miss Fullcomer. And the black kids would ask her, Miss Fully, come on my face, can I go to the bathroom?
That's what they would say.
God, jeez.
Wow.
No, Miss Fully, come on my face, can I go to the bathroom? What? Yeah, I guess, please. Every once in a while, she would just go, please.
That's a tough school.
I was.
How tough was it?
So I said, after 2 weeks, she goes, I don't think your name's Skipper. So that type of laughter is how I'm going to laugh at one. If some liberal, politically correct douchebag tries to give me shit about a misogynist bit I did on It's the Whiskey Talking. I forgot about the bit. Back when I wrote this, and go ahead, Joe. I'm sorry.
It came up in this course.
They want my actual a portion of my stand-up is shown.
Is in this course.
A clip.
And Anthony Cumia told
Saw
you.
it, yeah.
And he said
it on the air. Danny, somebody sent it to us. He said it on the air. He goes,
they showed a bunch
I'm sitting there, and the film comes up about how pop culture can inspire people to hate women. And Artie Lang is the first guy up there. And I know Artie now, and it was very weird. I know that guy. And I'm like the villain of the class. It's like anti-Semitism course, and Hitler's up there, Hitler speech. And I think the narrator goes, this is a monster who calls himself a comedian. Like the way Scott Shannon was calling me after I tweeted out about the black chick on ESPN. Scott Shannon was playing and goes, that's when the monster tweeted something else. This poor woman who's worked so hard and struggled as not only a woman, but an African-American woman, somehow gets to the pinnacle of her profession, something this monster could only dream of. And because of his bitter anger, that's all we can think of, and jealousy, he wants to take her down with racist, sexist tweets. She thinks she's out of the water, and then the monster reloads.
Were there other...
The monster. So,
were there other comedians, or just you and that's it?
I think I want to get royalties, first of all. What is the course? I mean, the government has to pay. I want to get government royalties. I don't think that's so bad. I got Dorfman on it. Dorfman, I tell Dorfman, I go, what'd you say? I've got my BMW painted. What? You got putting flames on it.
What flames?
Rick Dorfman has a $400,000 car. Guess things are going well over the Converse. What's it? Converse? What is it?
Converse Media or
things are going well over there.
Talk about misogynistic.
Well, I'm not done yet.
Okay,
I'm not
sorry. No, this was on the same subject.
So the bit is about 2003. It was a local story. Somebody actually got mad that at a McDonald's. True story. A kid had a party at a McDonald's. They had all those characters, Mayor McCheese, the Hamburglar. Mayor McCheese, this woman noticed that it was always a man. And she thought it was a bad message for the kids. And she thought that Mayor McCheese could be a woman sometimes, because a woman could be a mayor. And McDonald's, being a typically politically correct corporation, this is political correctness at its finest and worst. Finest as a comic because it's just so ripe to be goofed on, and worse because it's like, what message are they sending you? Okay. We admit it. A woman could be the Mary Cheeseburger town. We concede. So the next time when she had a party for her daughter, her youngest daughter, they made Mary McCheese a woman. So they hire they get her from a model agency, these people. And this to me, not only do I like this bit that they think is terrible, to me, this is the closest I've ever come to actually writing art. That's how much I love it. People call comedy art. Not what I do. I yell shit back in a drunk audience and get paid. But this is the closest I've ever come to maybe going, that's actually brilliant, because I was able to turn around something that they found to be such a great example of a progressive society, something a feminist thought of, to turn around into the single most offensive thing they could possibly imagine. And that was this. This is a female model playing Mary McCheese. And my theory was, look, guys, if you're upset about that as a man, think about it. That is the perfect woman. It's a female model. She got a beautiful ass, a tight body, nice tits, and her head is an enormous cheeseburger. Her head doesn't speak, it drips with cheese. You can eat it while you're fucking her. Her head, a woman with a cheeseburger for a head. is maybe the funniest vision I've ever thought of in my life. And I love it. It's my favorite thing I've ever written. And I would want to be married to a woman with a cheeseburger for a head. And I followed it with a bunch of jokes like she has her hair in a bun. Her name is All Beef Patty. The stupidest shit you ever heard. But the idea of turning around their idea into a woman with a cheeseburger head. There's not one woman I've ever dated that would not be improved if their head were a cheeseburger instead of the head they had. And couldn't talk. Just drip with cheese. No pickles.
No pickles.
I want a wife with no pickles.
No pickles.
Hold the pickle. Hold the lettuce. It's actually a Big Mac. Special sauce. So that is played. I did it in Phoenix at the Tempe Improv. It's the hardest I've ever seen a group of white people laugh. The women laughed at it. So I would like, if I ever have to defend that on some liberal show, and a woman on the Huffington Post says, okay, you think a woman would be perfect if she had a cheeseburger for because that's how absurd it is. That's why it's in the video. People think that's an anti-woman thing. I have the gall to assume a woman would be better with a cheeseburger. Yeah, I really think that.
There's like 1,000 jokes that are more misogynistic than that.
Yeah.
That we could think of in 2 minutes.
Well, they think that that a woman would be improved with a cheeseburger for a head. They think I really think that.
It's slamming you though. It's like you're saying. It's like
no, it's not. How's it slamming me?
Well, it's kind of saying that you would love to fucking eat and fuck at the same time a little bit, isn't it?
No, it's not nothing to do with eating.
The joke's funny.
Jokes got nothing to do with eating.
But it comes across because you're saying cheeseburger that you would love to eat it.
The joke is that The joke is that I am that guy who thinks a woman would be. I don't want to hear her talk. I just want to have a cheeseburger
right
on her head.
Right.
Not even for eating. It could be anything else that doesn't talk. Like an iron. There's just the advantage here is yes, it is edible,
and it's an amazingly edible thing. Right. I mean, I'm seeing
it's done well.
It's not like it's a fucking fruit shake on your head. It's a fucking cheeseburger.
Exactly. It's not a
smoothie.
It's not a piece of kale.
No.
Matter of fact, most women I know they would not be improved by kale.
Yeah. And it's a McDonald's hamburger.
Exactly. Unbelievable.
Aren't you a Burger King guy though? Don't you like Burger King better than McDonald's?
No, McDonald's I like.
Oh, you like better?
Well, they're both amazing. What's better than a fucking, if you're hungry, what's better than a Big Mac? And I overeat at McDonald's even more than I overeat everywhere else. I just, there's something in that fucking burger. But again, I guess the whole bit is I do get, and the point of that thing, that DVD is, that title is for real. I mean, I get drunker. As I get drunker towards the end of it, it's the whiskey talk. I do get more offensive. And I do say, like, I say specific things that a woman said. I just, it's like the Mexican guy who was in for murder next to me in LA County Jail who taught me how to make a pussy out of toilet paper. Take the cardboard thing out. He told me he said the water's got to be lukewarm. Him in his cell, like making sure the water's lukewarm. And he goes, just fuck the toilet paper. And he goes, dude, you will never go back to real pussy. it don't complain. What I'm about to say, both sides of a conversation I had with a Mexican guy in LA County Jail in the cell next to me, verbatim. This is the conversation. It don't complain. It don't spend your money. It don't bitch. It don't fuck your brother. I said, your wife fucked your brother? Yeah. I killed that motherfucker. I said, your brother? He goes, yeah. I go, is that why you're in here? He goes, no, I got away with that shit. He's screaming it. I go, why are you in here? He goes, for killing the bitch. That's hilarious. He's screaming out his crime. Every guard can testify. It don't complain. You would never go back to real pussy. It don't complain. It don't spend your money. It don't bitch. It don't fuck your brother. I said, you fucked your brother? Yeah. I killed that son. You killed your brother? Yeah. Is that why you're in here? No, I got away with that shit. Why you in here? For killing a bitch.
Did you laugh?
That laughing.
You could just laugh.
I laughed like crazy. He high-fived me for laughing. Come here, boy. I like you, man. I like you. You're a motherfucker, man. He's the guy who had his entire back was covered with a tattoo of Speedy Gonzalez. I mean, well, how do I say that without sounding racist? It's a fact. I said, that's good work, man. The tattoo's great. He goes, yeah, man, I'll give you a name of the guy. This guy does great work. I said, when did you get it? He goes, when I was 14. I go, did it grow with you? Like, it's perfectly, did the guy figure out how big you're going to be? Like, how was it? Did it grow with your body? And like, it was his whole back. Goes, yo, man, that's a good point.
It stretched.
Yeah, it kind of stretched and was, I didn't want to get into it. The physics. That's what I told the guards. The guards loved me because they were trying to figure out. They were so racist, the guards, and they called during the breaks, each cell block, an ethnic group hung in each cell block, and there was a Guinea block, and like a Spick block. Spick block was something like it rhymed, but they were trying to figure out, and the black block was like black block. And I said, guys, I got a great one. I go, but I got it. I said, I thought of, I said, I'm a comedian. Believe me, I have a great one, but I need some sort of special privilege. And they're like, fuck you, just tell us. So I go, okay, where the blacks hang out, sickle cell block. and a couple of them didn't understand what I was talking about. The guys who got it just were guffawing. And I said, you can't, they go, we can't use that. I go, you're too offended by that? Guinea block? The last day I'm there, after a month and a half, I hear a couple of guys say sickle cell block. I guarantee to this day they're using it. I should call Dorfman, see if he can get me again. Hey, Trick Dorfman, this LA County? Yeah, I'm a manager. I represent a former inmate here. Yeah, he went on to quite a career. No, not JB Smoke. Not your bro. Yeah, he claims he named the... he gave the block where the blacks hang out during break its name for the guards, and he'd like to know if there's any royalties. He said the guys are having a good time with it. It's good for morale. Apparently, sickle cell block. Hello, Victor. Amanda, get them back.
Amanda.
And find out if Conan Smith has successfully started the stand-up department at Buckwalk. 4 days after Conan Smith told me Converge was the most exciting project he ever won.
That's so true.
4 days after Conan Smith said, "Artie, man, you know me. I've been friends a long time. I never steer you wrong." Me and Dorfman just clicked. And
was that on the podcast? Because he was a guest on your podcast. Did he say that?
No.
I remember him being a guest
maybe
on
it was. Well, he told me somewhere.
He might have said it on the podcast.
Yeah, he might have. That's great.
He came here with his suit on.
He told me somewhere. I've never seen him without a suit on. Sorry. He told me somewhere that he goes, "This is the most exciting thing."
Russ Maneve loves Conan Smith.
Well, listen, a lot of us have had dealings with agents by now, where, there's a lot of people. You bring up an agent's name, there's a chance they've been wronged by them.
Oh yeah,
and they roll their eyes. Like we were working with Sarah Silverman yesterday on the show Crashing, and Rick Dorfman's name came up unsolicited by me. Someone said it, and Sarah told me a story that's hilarious.
Oh, God.
David Juskow was, a comedian who's, got a day job, but he's a funny motherfucker. And quirky humor, but real funny. Well, Juskow, he's on the show all the time.
Yes.
He kills it. He's great here. Dorfman was his manager, and he got to the Aspen Comedy Festival with a one-man show. And it was got a buzz about it. And Dorfman got to Aspen a day early. See, Dorfman's a rich kid, is my point. Like, he doesn't have the drive that someone who needs money. Like, in other words, if the company Converge is bleeding money, it doesn't matter because he's never going to be hurting for money. It's all coming in from Papa.
And his wife makes a lot of money
Exactly.
on top of it.
Exactly. So he's fine.
Got both.
He's fine.
Yeah.
There's no passion.
Yeah.
It's Conan Smith, quite frankly, too. No matter what they do in life, they could suck and they'll be fine. Me, no. I'm probably going to die anyways. under a bridge with no knees. Some infection will land from diabetes. And I'll have
Is that
everything.
why Trump's son nailed his speech?
Yeah, exactly.
What's he got to lose?
Exactly.
I'm fucking Donald Trump's kid.
No matter what, at the end of the day, he's Donald Trump's kid. When I OD'd and turned green and couldn't make Bob Saget's roast, Norm was very upset, and so was Bob Saget. And John Stamos, who was the host, was upset for a while, then was fine. And Norm thought that was interesting and odd. I said, why? No matter what, if I was dead at the end of the day or alive, he's still John Stamos. So that's the point. So Juskow, it's a big thing. He's got one big show in front of everybody. And it's Dorfman had to like schmooze them before. Like he's going to be there for lunch and everything. Blows it off because he got there a day early and skied. And he was so tired from skiing and had sunburn from the skiing, he slept all day the next day. He slept through Juskow's one-man show. That's his matter.
Are you serious?
That's what Sarah,
Wow.
That's what Sarah
and
said.
Sarah told that.
Yeah.
Dave has told that here off the air.
Right.
Yeah.
And so in other words, think about that. Think about that. Juskow is the reason his manager got a trip to Aspen for a day. Show business wasn't involved. Like he said, I'm going to write a one. Basically, it's as if Juskow said to him about 6 months earlier, I'm going to write a one-man show, make sure it's great, and you're going to win a day of skiing in Aspen for it.
That explains a lot of his text messages with me. They're always like one-word answers. Like
Right.
most guys will be like, "No, because," and then we shouldn't do that.
He doesn't
'cause
care.
He'll just go, "No."
Right.
Like it'll just say no.
And he's a good guy.
He
The
is.
most passionate thing he's ever done is try to get me to go to a Ranger game with him. That's the only thing. That's the only thing he followed up on. That's the only thing he followed up on. No, not a meeting, nothing. He followed up on going to a Ranger game
And he called here every 5 minutes.
for a Ranger game.
I actually praised him when we got back from LA because he was the first manager I ever had that was good in meetings. They're usually every manager I ever had was horrendous.
I have a different guy.
You have a different guy. I'm telling you, I don't know.
I kick his leg.
Maybe because I was the only guy he had that week doing anything.
I kick his leg and shut up.
Do you?
Yeah.
I didn't mind it because he was selling. I don't know. I was
right,
like, look, go ahead, talk. I don't need to fill this all. I don't need this. He was pitching my show pretty good.
I don't like him to talk.
Really? You want to say? You want to? Yeah.
He's god awful.
He was
In the
doing
book
well.
meeting, him and this, he hired this pussy ass, effeminate book agent who wore a scarf in the meeting. I wanted to strangle. I'm like, who are you, John Voight? He's a book agent, so he thinks he's smart. He read a lot of books. He's just like a big dummy. Everything he said sounded dumb. I knew more about books. And The Great Gatsby was no, it wasn't. It wasn't. He had a big scarf that he wore in the meeting. It was like pink. A pink. I call him Scarf Boy. And I thought he was getting 10%.
He wore a scarf?
Yeah, I thought he was getting 10% of the thing. And I found out he's getting 15% after the fact, after we got the deal. And I told Rick, I never want to see him again. I don't want him to call me and see how the book's doing. If he's going to be somewhere where I am, you have to let one of us know. It's like in The Godfather with Fredo. If you see our mother, I want to know 3 weeks ahead of time, so I won't be there. Scarf Boy, you're nothing to me now.
Scarf boy.
You're not an agent. You're not a manager. You're not a guy who doesn't know anything about books. So in every fucking book meeting, I'm just killing. I'm destroying in these meetings. These people are Stern fans. Like I knew every button to press. And it's like a steamroller head. You could tell them they're about to write a check there. And then Scarf Boy tries to add an anecdote. And that got Anthony Bowes, my co-writer, just hit nuts him and said, "What are you doing? Just calm down and Artie will fucking buy you a car." And then Rick in L.A. were pitching my idea for a show, Artie's Black Kid. And, I got them all laughing because of the jokes. Then Rick out of nowhere, without telling me, goes, "Yeah, and we think the show will be a good thing to help race relations." I said, "What?" And then he starts to talk about "Oh yeah, we think it could help." At the end of every episode, there'll be a lesson about racial stuff. I'm like, what the fuck are you talking about? I see a couple of black agents. They're starting to lose. He's losing them. Like he can relate to them.
I'm trying
Some
to
rich kid.
I'm trying to think what I was just watching, and you might have said that. It might have been David Spade in his book. in his audio book. I was listening to some of it, his new book. Something about someone was like, yeah, and I asked my manager what I should do for this, and he goes, wait a second, did you ask your manager for creative input? He's like, you don't do that.
No, that's why
that you,
I have
Tony?
a thing about that. No, yeah, someone told me that Peter Principato was their manager. We were both. I said the younger guy was like, say, Peter was telling him what bits to do at an audition for the comic strip for Lucian, and I said, you're letting Peter tell you creative stuff about you? He goes, why you don't do that? I'm like, oh my God, no. He's not a funny person. Do you think he's funny on any level? He just likes having power over you. Like, any suggestion he would make creatively was just, I think you should do that. Here's what you do first. Do the cheeseburger head. I just love it. And then, I don't know, you should do the thing about that. And,
I'm going to get the pancake.
and you think about that. He would start to lose his breath. And then if you're in the car with him too long, driving around the valley, he started to stink. Like a landfill. But, he had Russian dressing on his shirt. So you don't get creative input from them? No.
See, I'm such a weak pussy that when we were in L.A., he had his mind set on what my career was going to be in the show.
Oh.
Rick did. He's like, you're a blue collar guy. You own your own construction business, and your wife's the psychologist. He goes, you're a guy. You're not struggling. But you're not.
Guy.
I go, dude, and I told my wife that on the phone, and my wife just goes, I would never marry a fucking plumber. What is he talking about? Like, you don't seem like a plumber.
Well, she would never marry a plumber.
She wouldn't. She's like, usually, because
of snob reasons?
No, just because of...
Well, what if she found a creative plumber?
If you did find a smart, creative plumber, there's one in the world.
I know a few of them.
You do?
Yeah, my cousins.
He's creative plumber?
Well, my first cousins who I love to death. You're
They do exist.
Who listen to the show.
They do exist.
Yeah, a lot of them do.
Yeah. Am I now I'm the host? Well, they can hate my wife, not me. But basically, I'm going to talk because Artie disappeared. I think he went to the bathroom or something.
That's what he did.
He just went to the bathroom. I think I did see his ass crack for a second. He's got some very low pants on.
He's lost weight. That's the
Is
problem.
that what it is?
Yeah, he's lost a lot of weight.
Has he heard about this new invention called the belt, ladies and gentlemen? He doesn't know. Maybe his belts are too big. I was going to say even his jacket looks too big.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's lost weight. He's a thin Artie, ladies and gentlemen. Now, so what the fuck was I just talking about? So the hard part about trying to play a blue-collar guy on this show that I'm trying to pitch is I'm supposed to be this, like, introspective, a little... you know what I mean? Like, it's just... I don't know why he was dead set on that. I go, why can't I have a creative job, asshole?
All my cousins are construction guys. Everyone is smarter than you. Every single one. And I have a cousin who's a plumber who made $600,000 last year.
Right. I'm not saying... I'm saying my...
I'm insulted by that.
Okay.
It's disgusting. What a disgusting attitude. Like Dorfman, too. Like, how dare you, Dorfman? You're a rich kid. You're nothing. You're nothing. My cousins are just more interesting, funnier, more creative. My cousin Jeff has a 141 IQ. He frames houses for a living. But he didn't have a rich daddy, did he? Rick. Fucking idiot. I hate you. I would marry a plumber. Jesus Christ. $600,000 a year, baby.
She doesn't mean about the money. Is not what she's saying.
Well, he's also creative,
right? But but that is.
You said there's one plumber in the world who's interesting.
I was exaggerating, but it's a rarity.
It's not that
most guys that are coming to put
liberal show business attitude. I'm so sick of it. It's so sickening.
But what did kind of annoy me? I go, dude, we already got a strong bite from our first meeting. We were at our last meeting, and I go, dude, can I just fucking do the pitch that I want to do, like on this last one?
What is your?
And
pitch?
he was like, no.
What? Why? Why would you not fire him right there? Whose car are we in?
his rental.
You should make him get out of his rental car. I would have said, pull over. You're getting out of your car. I'm kicking you out of your car.
Yeah.
And then let him tell me, I took karate as a kid. I took hitting rich kids with pipes. Yeah, you're a dumb carpenter. Yeah, the house you're in was built by a dumb guy, I guess. You don't get the dumb guy plumber gets rid of your shit, Rick.
He wasn't
you
saying
think you could figure out how to get rid of your shit?
But he wasn't saying dumb guy.
Well, you were.
He just wanted me.
You were saying.
No, I was just saying. He was saying blue collar guy.
We had the super chord.
And I was just saying, why would you play an occupation on your show that you've never done ever in your life? Like, why give yourself a stretch?
Well, because Kevin James has $1 billion from doing it.
Yeah. But
so does Ralph.
There's
Trampa.
probably a reason why he picked that, though.
Well,
I always wondered.
Everybody plays a comedian now. You're getting.
I don't want to play a comedian.
Well, what do you want to play then?
I told him I wanted to play.
Singer?
I wanted to play like a radio personality, but he was like, "That's exactly a comedian." I'm like, "Well, it's not."
Well, a lot of comedians are radio guys now.
But I didn't mean like a podcast guy or like I wanted.
Tim Allen has $1 billion from playing a carpenter.
I'm not saying I have a problem with it. I'm saying why set myself up in a job that
So why not?
I'm bad at construction.
Why no? But you're acting.
Right. I know that.
I mean, I don't think Mark Wahlberg's a Marine either. You know, he could be. Do you think Denzel Washington's a pilot?
No. But when I was pitching a show.
Denzel Washington's blood alcohol. If you were on a plane and you heard Denzel Washington was flying a plane with a 3.7 blood alcohol level. Do you think he could land it? He did that in a movie.
Dude, someone just thought...
It looked very realistic.
Someone I was just talking to recently thought that was a true story.
Yeah, no, my God.
I go, I think
he must have been a plumber.
He must have been.
You know how smart plumbers are? You know how hard it is to figure out how to get rid of your shit?
It's true.
And what, are you smarter because you figure out like a joke? Oh, my God. Working with a lot of condescending people in show business lately. I'm not built for this business.
This kind of segues.
I like my cousins. I don't like actors. I like hanging out with my cousins.
Well,
They're very smart people.
I like to hang out with regular people too.
Really? You think they're thrilled to be hanging out with you now?
No.
That insult is terrible. But I think his point was, if you're going to play a radio guy, why not play a comic? Like, why not be what you are? You know, like, what's the difference?
Well, I guess what I was trying to say to Rick is, I said, I still have this thing in my head that when I pitched it just to a company that did my web series, it seemed to excite them in the meeting.
So you have a vision, but that's the thing.
I had
you
a
have
vision.
a vision for the. Yeah, so why not tell Rick that?
I did.
He should let you go with that. Then
I said, can we just try it in one of these meetings and see what the fuck happens? Because it usually crushes in the meetings.
Well, why would he say no to that? You're the comedian.
Because it's one of those a lot of this has come up with 2 managers in a row.
Right.
And then both times, the first time the guy was wrong.
Like, I got to tell you, from watching your special, and I said this on the air the other day on the podcast, this is something Rick never brings up when talking about your special, and he should. I said, what I take from it is, the biggest thing you take from it, the biggest positive is, I said, there's a fucking professional, great comic. There's a guy who knows what he's fucking doing on stage. He's a pro. The jokes are great. He tells them great. You can tell he worked on it. He's been doing it a while. Like, that's the take back from it. That people are starting to lose focus on the editing and everything. And I said, that's what Rick should be concentrated on. And the fact that he doesn't realize that enough to have confidence that, like, watching that special, I'd go, okay, why wouldn't I let this guy pitch something instead of me? And the only answer is he's a frustrated performer.
Well,
like they all are.
He was, yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
He wants to try and, control you. And you're right for being aggravated. It gets me mad. So what, did you ever pitch it as you? Did you ever do your pitch?
Well, it's funny. You know what? We sold to the one company, and it was our first meeting.
Right.
And the reason we sold it is the woman watched every episode of my web series.
Right, okay, there you go. A fan.
And she completely got it.
You need that. That's a big thing.
And the show that I want to do is almost 95% exactly what I'm doing in the web series.
So you hit a dream. The fact that someone gets it that well.
But then Rick was like morphing it a little bit in the meetings.
That's
and
what
I
he's
was
doing with Artie's Black Kid. He wrote a thing. He added to it.
Yeah.
Oh,
I said, hey, Norman Queer.
Norman Queer.
Just thought of that. That's good. Calm down. You were supposed to copy it like a secretary. I added a grandmother.
Well, the one of the reasons where I said to him why I don't see me with the blue collar job, I said I don't mind me having the blue collar job.
but I understand what you're
said,
saying.
but this hook for this show here, I go, my character needs a place where he's expressing some.
That should
I
be
go.
right.
I don't know if it's in a. Writes novels.
But here's the thing.
He needs to express
he's a
that.
creative side. He needs a creative outlet.
He needs an outlet.
Right, okay.
That he's trying to figure his life out.
What is his problem with that? Like what? Like that makes total sense. He's pushing back on that.
Yeah, I said I don't know. I said
You're the blue collar.
I said let's just. Well, and
the star of the show then is your wife.
And one of the reasons I had the idea was because someone who ran like a major network years ago came up to me off of one line that I said on stage and said, ignore everything else that you were pitching and throwing out there. He goes, that one line where you said, I want to do a show, I want to be on the radio where people call and try to help me. He goes, just that line where they're helping you and you're not helping them.
How long ago was that?
It was at the Montreal Comedy Festival, probably about 7 years. It was a long time ago.
So after, in other words, remember the show we did that aired on Howard TV? That we did at Caroline's, me, Norton, and you.
Yeah.
So after that, because I didn't realize that's fucking 12 years.
That was actually what we taped at Caroline's
that was
with you.
Right. Okay.
I brought to Montreal.
The one with Norton.
Yes.
Right. Okay.
And I was pitching that show.
What's so funny? Right. Okay. I remember
with
that.
comedians and a doctor who was a therapist analyzing you in front of the crowd.
That guy was your cousin. And great smart guy, not a TV guy.
Right. So the guy from ABC said was pitching that in something called Just for Pitching.
Right.
In front of an audience, you had to pitch a show.
That was a thing at Montreal.
Yeah.
Right.
And the guy from ABC came up to me. He goes, didn't really like what you were pitching.
Right.
But when I was pitching it, I had a joke in my pitch that was,
they fix you.
I said, I think it was just a quick one-liner where I said, I'm so narcissistic, I want to have a radio show where people call in and help me.
Right, I remember.
And then I'd do a little act out where I go, hey, this is Joe, you're on the air, how can you help me? That was the joke. 2 seconds. The guy goes up to me, he goes, that one joke?
Could be a show?
That could be a show. Do you have anything written on that? And then and then when he said that, I started writing an outline.
The only, and again, this is just playing the devil's advocate. I could be completely wrong. The only, like if I were there at that moment and I was asked my opinion, I'd go, it's a great joke. But I found this like with Howard Stern's show a couple times with us. We would get into a conversation about something and we would say, we'd have an idea and then we would try to actually produce the show. Like, in other words, and we found out that a lot of the times talking about doing it was funnier than doing it, you know? So that's a great joke. My only thing would be, are there enough, can it sustain a show? You know what I mean?
I did 13 episodes of it on the web series. But I didn't do a radio guy. I did more of a guy talking into the camera at the beginning of the show and at the end of the show.
How many callers was each show? Like
I didn't do callers. I just needed an outlet, which is me talking into the camera going, hey, this is what's going on.
But where who gave you help and how?
Well, in the web series, it looks as if I'm trying to get it from the internet world.
So the web series is a scripted show. It's not
scripted.
Okay, all right.
But it looks like I'm talking into the camera. You see my hand go in.
Right.
Just imagine as if instead of the radio, I'm a guy doing a YouTube video going, hey, this is what's going wrong. What do you think I should do?
And then
it acted out.
Okay, and then the thing me and you and Norton did was before Montreal. So then you came back, and then when did that air? The web series. When
let's see. It ended about 2.5 years ago because I had to go pull up all the contracts and figure it out.
Okay, so
3 years ago.
So this woman is a fan of it. She's in show business.
She was
that would make sense.
She's the head of CBS.
Okay,
she was the second in charge at CBS.
All right, so if she likes it. If she likes it, that means if other people see it, there probably other people who will like it. what does Rick say to that? Like, what does your manager say to that?
Oh, he likes the web series.
So what's
he's
going
not
on?
against it, but for some reason,
So why does he want you to
thinks
play the
that's
blue
an
collar?
old idea that should evolve. He goes,
an
"Why don't
old
you just
idea.
play a regular guy?" And I go,
But it's
"It
an old
can
idea.
be a regular guy."
It's not an old idea to the world, to put the general public and audience.
Right.
It's old idea to you.
I just felt like, I go, if you want to, we just hit it out of the park,
Right.
You know, and we hit it out of the park because this woman saw the web series.
So by
She
hitting it out of-
actually watched it. And he was trying to get me to
I know.
not put. If you remember, he made a sizzle reel up, and he goes, "I don't want a lot of your web series to be in the sizzle reel that I'm sending out because I don't want it to look like we did it already." He goes, "I didn't want it to look like we did it. We're just going to use a lot of your stand up."
What would their problem be if you did it somewhere where they don't?
No one saw it.
That's what I
go.
mean.
Look at the
I
fucking
don't
videos. They
understand
have
it.
fucking 7,000 hits. They're
like, in
not
other words-
12 million hits.
Exactly. And the other thing is, something's not an old joke if you're hearing it for the first time. By the way, and all of the world would hear it for the first time.
Right.
But okay.
And people have
So
been seeing
frustrating.
this web series. Every one of my podcast listeners going, "This is fucking this should be on TV. This is a show. This
So
should be
why
a show."
are you not aggressively just doing that?
Well, we are. I mean, thank God that meeting went the best out of all 10 meetings we had, and we're going with them.
Okay.
And
so you
that-
sold it there, and she's a fan is doing it, which is it's like, in other words, I've been trying to get Rick to promote this show and the podcast. He doesn't care. He doesn't listen to it. He listens once every 3 weeks and calls me that he listened to it. He doesn't care about it because he's not a fan.
I hope he doesn't listen to this one.
He listens to them sometimes.
Uh-oh.
And it doesn't matter. He doesn't care. He doesn't get it. He didn't even get that we're goofing on him. And he wasn't promoting the show. A guy on the internet who's obsessed with the show, he's called Artie Fan Clips, was making
I know that guy.
unbelievably great videos based on shows that just happened. So he's not only doing it for free, he was doing it because he loved it, and he was doing it fast. And we hired him. It turns out he's a 39-year-old guy who does this for a living, but in a corporate field. So he goes, Art,
Really?
I'm so fucking bored to death, but I have this skill, and quite frankly, he's good at it, and he loves the show. He can't stop listening. He's what you're talking about with this woman. He's passionate. He's a fan, and it does it because he loves doing it. And now with the money and the idea that I said, look, if it gets to be a big enough situation, I will hire you. He could not be more full speed ahead. That's what you need, is this woman to be in a decision-making situation where she loves the show,
Right.
and has passion about it. You can't have a guy who's half foot in, doesn't really get it, pushing it.
I was going to say the exact opposite. The worst meeting I had when I was out there was with Jeff Ross, the head of Conan's production
Jeff
company.
He produced Jeff Conan's show for a long time. Jeff
Yeah.
he's been great to me. He's a great guy.
Okay.
I love Jeff. But had a problem. What happened?
He
You mean
wasn't.
Coco? Conan's company?
Yeah, that production company was and I'm sure you can relate to years ago before you were on Howard. These were always the hardest meetings. You walk in, no one has watched anything you've ever done, and they just go, "So what do you want to pitch?"
It happened during Howard, post Howard. I mean, the greatest thing was that a lot of people listened to Howard, but you're right. When you think it's
They
the
haven't
worst.
even watched a 2-minute. They didn't even watch the sizzle reel you sent that was supposed to be why you were getting these.
How about when your
meetings.
representative says to you that they're big fans? Wrongly so. And you go in that situation, is the worst thing ever.
That's
they
the
love you.
worst.
You go in and go, are you Artie?
Yeah.
No, dude, it's the worst.
He was almost mean to me, Jeff Ross.
Well,
he's
no,
a multi-millionaire.
I have to quantify it with saying he's always been very nice to me, but you're my friend. I believe you too.
He wasn't mean
'Cause
to
it
me.
happens.
He wasn't mean to me. It was just
was he dismissive? Maybe like
No, it's like one of the reasons why the woman at that one company.
But we're not talking about the comedian Jeff Ross.
No.
This guy Jeff Ross is a guy who produces Conan O'Brien's TV show and has since the beginning of
From
day
the
one.
beginning, so he's a multi-millionaire.
Right.
You know, now this woman who really got me happened to basically say, like, I have a husband who I think should be on meds. I have a kid I have twin kids that have ADD. It was
She's the
just like she
ultimate
got
person-
it.
The ultimate person you need.
Yeah, and then you go
And
in.
she's a fan of you.
And then I go into the meeting with Jeff Ross at Conan, and he's like, "My fucking he just got divorced." You could just feel like I'm like, this guy's not going to get me. He doesn't get. He's just wrong. He's divorced and thinks that he would. He just.
Well, he probably gave away a lot of money. He's divorced, probably mad. I see what you're saying.
He's just mad and more. He
Well,
seemed
listen.
a little very super intellectual.
But that is what and he is. But that is what show. If any kids listen, young people want to go to show business, this is what it is. It's not like something else that's like a science. It's personal opinions. It's personal relationships. Someone could be in a shitty mood one day when you're pitching it, or you could happen to catch a break and you find this woman who's a fan, watched every one of the shows you're talking about, and then something else can happen where your manager has a different vision that fucks up. So much shit can happen where it's fucked up. Like the ultimate thing, the lottery winner. The ultimate example of perfect times perfect is Jerry Seinfeld somehow being a comic in the same generation as Larry David, them somehow meeting at the Improv one night, going around the block to a diner and thinking of the Seinfeld show. That is what your dream is as a comic. Meeting a guy who's got a work ethic to write is a genius, even if you don't know it at the time, and gets you times a billion, and you get him. And then you happen to find 3 amazing character actors, and that's it. You're off to the races.
And still, it almost got canceled.
Yes. It almost didn't get on the air.
Yeah.
But that is the ultimate story. That doesn't happen.
It's almost like if you took a roulette table and spun it again on
much.
2 more things that were spinning the other way, and then it has to land in that little square.
Number 2 would be, that's a good way to put it, that's the odds of that happening. And think about it, in life, it shouldn't happen. I'll tell you what, I give Janine Garofalo a lot of shit. She has a joke I'm going to give her props on, because I'm almost positive it was Janine Garofalo. Talking about people who married their high school sweetheart. And she goes, what are the odds? I'm probably not doing it service, Janine. I know you're probably a big listener. What are the odds that the person you're perfectly in time with in the world, your soulmate, had the locker next to you? I mean, that's true. It's like that serendipity with human beings meeting each other, like Larry David and Seinfeld, should never happen. And in show business and creativity, should never. That happening is 1 billion to 1. The number 2 example is probably Phil Rosenthal and Ray Romano. It's not as perfect a match as Seinfeld and David, because it's a different type of thing, but that's the number 2 thing. It's usually you get, and I've had a lot of deals, you get writers who they pit you with, who, they don't get you, you don't get them, you hate them, and they find that you just want money, they just want money, they don't want to work. Like Larry David was hungry to work, he wanted to write, he wanted it to be good. He wanted it to be good. Like there's stories of Fred Stoller, great comic who I became friendly with because he did a couple of spots on the Norm Show. Told me he was a writer on Seinfeld, had a couple of writers' credits on a couple of iconic episodes, actually. And he goes, those I can't take credit for them. I go, why? He goes, I wrote an outline, and Larry David and Seinfeld told me to fuck off, and locked themselves in his office, and the 2 of them wrote it. Because they wanted it to be good, to be their vision. That's what you need. And that is so rare, that the combination of that work ethic and the ability to be funny. So you have a piece of that with this woman, in other words. She likes you.
That part,
she saw them.
But there was a piece, because they literally, I think she even said it in the meeting, now that I think. Do you, and this never used to come up 10, 15 years ago. They would never say, so are you writing this? Do you want to write this? They would never say that.
Right.
They always thought comedian and we get a writer.
Get somebody else.
Now, I had never, ever been tempted.
Save that thought. Trump is going to speak.
Oh, is he?
Okay,
He's starting.
Literally, I could get back into this because
okay.
I want to, because you realize you partially hit that lottery in meeting this woman who saw every episode and loves it.
And gets it.
Yeah, and that's it, gets it.
The head of the company wasn't even there.
Right.
But she must have such a strong influence. 15 minutes later, we're in the car and we get an email saying they're in.
Well, that's good too.
And he wasn't even there.
Sometimes the person who loves it and has this serendipity with you has no power, so that's good too.
I got lucky.
So now your next step is somehow creatively fire Dorfman.
Or writing it myself.
Dan has zero instinct as a radio person. Zero. Let me know when we're on.
We're on.
We're back. Dan Filato, by the way, a new star of Crashing on HBO.
I'm going to do it Donald Trump where I'm going to clap for myself.
1,000, no one knows what you're talking about. 1,000 comedians.
Donald Trump claps for himself.
1,000 comedians. Tried to get on the show Crashing. Dan Filato got on there. You're welcome. You're welcome for the dental from SAG.
I thanked you on Twitter. I thanked you in person.
I don't read it. I didn't hear it.
You don't read all my tweets?
And I don't find you. You read everybody's tweets. You know everybody's Twitter. Did you see my budgie? I can't believe what these people are saying.
I have a lot of help from Steve Torelli and Monica.
You read, Gino Biscotti's in a fight with Artie's blood and liver. So Dan just gets offered a part, Mr. Smoothie. I get a call from Pete Holmes, who's with Judd Apatow. That's right. Who's got 8 movies going right now. They heard the podcast, and they like your Rick Steves rhetoric. I said, my relationship with him. Yeah, you mean you call him homosexual a lot, right? I go, yeah, can I do that? Sure. I was lied to. So we do my podcast on the show. An episode of The Crashing on HBO is on my podcast.
So you and him just, did you have to do a...
Sarah Silverman's the guest, so she was in. I can't get her on the real show. She was on the show. And then the premise is Pete Holmes calls in and he comes in and he's excited. But Sarah was a guest and it was scripted, but they let us just basically do the show. And Dan is doing exactly what he's doing right now. He's just sitting there. They made him go in for a fitting. When I tell you Dan didn't have a line, and I think I mentioned Dan. I mentioned him a couple times. I referred to Dan. I guess I have a close up on you. Did you notice a camera was on you?
Yes.
Looking like a couple of cameras.
Yes.
Because the way Apatow does it, man, he's got all his money. 4 cameras are going the whole time with film. That's insane. You know the money? And they taped my stand up back at 3 different clubs for episodes, and they just said just keep doing it till it runs out. So I did my act until for a bunch of extras until it ran out.
So he doesn't even have to change the shot.
That's the thing.
He's got it all going at once.
Right. In other words, on a film shoot, you got switched over the shoulder. All that's done.
So it shortens the day up for you.
We shot 18 pages one day. A film, you shoot 2 pages a day. That's the average. Beer League, we were moving so fast with one camera. At some point, Sebastiano got 9 pages done in one day. That was insane. And we've done, I think, over 20 pages in one day because, in other words, it's shot like a play or a 4-camera sitcom. Yeah, and it's all with film, the most expensive film you can imagine. Everyone's got digital. It's not film anymore. But he likes film, and it looks amazing. It looks so cool. It really. I just watched some of the playbacks, and a lot of this shit is funny just because me and Pete Holmes look so different.
Yes.
I look like I'm a guy who just mugged him. And I made out now in the show with Gina Gershon.
Did you really?
Yeah, for 2 weeks she played
You made out with her.
One of the episodes.
So hot.
Judd Apatow read my book, and again, this is surreal. So he said, we're going to do your Albany story, part of it, partially of a story I have in the book. So there's a chick in the Albany story that tries to give me coke, and because of my story, Gina Gershon got an acting job. I'm the only person who knows what the character Gina's playing looked like, and I got to say, she'll be very flattered. It's upcasting. It's as if I was being played by George Clooney. The chick is not as hot as Gina Gershon because I saw her. And put it this way: if anyone at one of my Albany shows ever looked like Gina Gershon, it would be on Entertainment Tonight. So so 2 episodes, she's like she's into me because she plays a fan, and she's like, we make out.
She's one of those girls that got hotter as she got older, I think. I like her older.
This is going to take a lot away from her looks, though, for people, I think, making out with me. I think it's going to I think it's going to hurt
dropped her numbers.
I think it's going to hurt her. She's going to go from a 9 to a 7.
She has like a rock... I saw her once out somewhere. I think she has a rock star husband or boyfriend or something.
Not anymore.
No? She's single?
She has a G-list fat comedian boyfriend. Mwah, baby.
Is she older than you or younger in real life?
I'm going to say we're about the same age.
Okay.
47, maybe she's 47. But a lady doesn't tell. Miss Gershon, if you're nasty. We hit it off. We did very well. We exchanged numbers. So far, she hasn't called me back on the ski trip. But we made out, and that was good because we took a lot of takes. And that was up at Governor's Comedy Club. We shot there. But another smoking hot chick who I make out with in the woods. She's a Miami model. I pretend to know she was. Nudity? No, just me. There wasn't my trailer though. Kidding. David Tell did a full episode, which was fun to work with him. And then it's like it's Judd Apatow, so you realize that everybody says yes. He offers shit to people, and they say yes. And it was a blast. I shot a full season of an HBO show, well, most of it, where I play myself. Now, look, the show could easily suck. I could suck on it. Actually, the show is probably going to be good. I may suck on it.
Have you seen a cut together episode?
No.
Not even the pilot?
No, I don't want to.
Really?
I get very. They say both Apatow and Pete Holmes are so nice. I doubt this is true, but they said I'm the reason part of the reason they got picked up. They would have got picked up without me. That's what they say. And the name of the pilot is Artie Lang. That's true.
Is it?
Yeah. They name each episode. It's basically like winning the lottery. What happened to me with the show? It's an HBO show with Apatow. It's like, I mean, forget it. I'm getting paid a very nice fee for each episode, and I'm in it so much that they asked me to do press for the show, which is going to premiere after Girls, Apatow's other show that's a hit on HBO. I think in February. This is all tentative, but if Judd says it, I think it's going to happen, like an Apatow block. So a month leading up to the premiere, he's going to do like a 12-city stand-up tour. The private jet kind of stand-up tour.
That'd be a great opener for that.
And I'll let them know. I think so it's me, Judd, Pete Holmes, and maybe some other special friends, Joe Matarese. They'll probably ask Attell because he was a part of it. Look, if they come across with the money, TJ Miller was a part of it, so maybe they'll ask him. Sarah, I'm sure. But I mean, it's people.
What other comics had big parts? Anybody?
Actually, Davidoff.
Dove's in a lot of it.
He's, but he doesn't play himself. He's because he can do real acting, and he plays the manager of the Rachel Ray's in it, the cooking person, who I have a history with from the Stern Show.
Really?
You remember that?
I don't know that you have history with Rachel Ray. No. My
first girlfriend during my Stern years, Dana.
Right.
I used to say on the Stern Show all the time. This is back in 03, 04. That I loved going home in the afternoon with our hours and watching Rachel Ray. What she made, she had a show called 30-Minute Meals. And the thing was, the meal took 30 minutes, but the preparation, me and Dana tried to make a meal 30 minutes. It took us four months. Because we had to go get the ingredients.
Right.
You don't happen to have like Moroccan paprika.
Shiitake mushrooms.
Right, you got to order it. But so I would talk about it all the time. Turns out she and her husband were big fans of Stern. And they said, hey, tell Artie because I said Dana also loved it too, so it was like a bonding thing. He said, Rachel said, called the show and said, look, Artie and Dana can come by the show. Now, I don't know. I guess I did a lot of drugs, And I thought 30-Minute Meals had guests. There was a table there. I swear to God, I saw her sit down with a guest and eat a meal. So I thought, and I told Dana, my girlfriend, my very loud Italian girlfriend, very judgmental, I said, listen, this is one time where I'm not the idiot. We are going to be on 30-Minute Meals to eat a meal. So she must have thought they had guests. I don't know. She's like, oh, wow, takes off a day of teaching. She was teaching Patterson's young African-American children. Do you realize that what she was doing? She was saving the world. Some of them didn't have, they would come to school in just socks. Uncle Artie would show up twice a month with a bunch of sneakers. That's right. Those kids love me. They love me. Can you get me the new Jordans? Yes, Tyrone. I can. And they actually, Dana actually would shed a tear because she would go, are you really going to buy all these kids' shoes? I said, yeah, I'm going to. I was making scratch. I think about $100K stand-up show. And I said, I'm gonna buy them all. And she would come to me crying sometimes, Dana. She would go, these poor kids don't have shoes. They come to my class without shoes. And I would buy them shoes. Then a month later, they don't have the new Jordans. I'm like, what happened? They'd steal their fucking shoes. And I would tell these kids, it's third grade she's teaching. I go, point them out to me. Who stole your shoes? Then they point out, I think, the principal. No. But, someone took their shoes. What I think was happening, and I have no proof of this, but Dana thought so, their parents would sell them for crack. Brand new Jordans. And the heartbreak is, like, insane. So what chance do these kids have? Do they have a shot? Aren't these asshole politicians going to help that kid? Where's Hillary and Donald Trump when she's got to give her shoes to her parents? It is. It's sad. But I would buy them shoes. It cost me a lot of money. And then I told, to Howard's wife, Beth, to her credit, I told that story on the air. She was heartbroken. She bought them a bunch of shoes. So I bring in the shoes. And Dana and Beth got close. So these kids, listen, I bought them enough shoes for a lot of, I bought them a lot of shoes. I could have written it off. it was a bonding thing. So Dana took a day. She was like their hero, Dana. They loved her. And, quite frankly, they loved me. Dana gave her the shoes. I was buying the shoes. It was my idea, too. She didn't think I'd do it. I'm like, what kind of a guy do you think I am? Of course I'd do it. I wrote it off. No, it was very, very nice. So anyway, Rachel said, take Dana. So she would take a day off of school. And then the teacher would teach whose boyfriend didn't buy them stickers. Dan laughs at that. All right, so, I need some help, Dan. I'm paying for everything. That was a joke, too. You can laugh at that. What is wrong with you and Joe? You're both creeping me out.
We're creeping him out.
I don't know, just
You're telling a heartwarming story.
Telling a story, going to Rachel Ray.
The dead silence is creepy. So I don't feel people I don't feel people like me. On purpose, they don't say anything because they don't like me. So I go to get Dana on that day, and she wants to get her hair done. Frederick Fakai. I go, what does that cost? $500.
What?
And I go, okay, fine. We're going to be on television. She was, she's a girl. She was nervous about being on TV. I said, okay. I get her a town car the day of the shoot because we're going to go right from the Stern Show to the taping. And she goes to Frederick Fakai in the town car. And she gets her hair done at a place on West 57th and 5th Avenue where Melania Trump goes. $500 hairdo. I go to pick her up to take her down to the Rachel Ray show in the Chelsea Food Network studios. Dan, you know they are all, right? Every fag does. You know where the studios are, right? You walk around there. So
where the batting cages
that's where the meetings are. That's where. Well, you can hold a bat.
I trained for the Artie home run contest there.
That did well.
I missed that.
Dan literally swings like Sarah Jessica Parker.
Does he really?
He's terrible.
No swing.
I mean, he couldn't make it out of the infield of a Little League.
Yeah, that's bullshit.
Dan,
I made it out.
It was so embarrassing.
Okay.
You should have just said you were hurt. You were hurt or something. Because that's on tape. You and Shane. Nobody made it out of the infield. It's a Little League field. I'm lacing home runs. It was so much fun. Me and the one kid who was like the key grip. We're the only two heterosexuals on the show.
No, wasn't one of them your cousin or something? Your cousin's kid?
Yeah, my cousin's kid was doing it with one hand. My cousin, his father's a plumber. They're stupid. They're good at sports, like the blacks. So now 500. I walk in to get her at Frederick Fakai. The gay guy who did her hair, and the other gay guy who manages the place, and the woman who was smoking who manages the place. They look at me. Now, if you remember, the first 2 weeks of the Stern Show, getting there at 6 a.m., I tried to look presentable. I just abandoned that event. I couldn't do it. I looked homeless every day on Stern. Homeless. Howard liked it because I think I made him look better. That was part of the deal. I think he liked that I was fat and ugly. It did make him look better, actually, if you look at him. And, I can't judge him because that's why I got Dan. But I said to the guy, how much? He was $500. Now, the guy was condescending. The guy looked at me like, why is the cable out? Why are you here? I go, no, that's my girlfriend. He goes, no. And this is what Dana at her peak. She looked like a young little Carmen Electra, and that ass of hers. Oh, my God. Nice tan. That blue rouge, that Gindaloon Jersey rouge. And a Frederick Fakai, very Jersey, and a Frederick Fakai hairdo. Now, look, she looked nice, but it looked like when she did it. Like, what did you sew a diamond into her fucking hair? Well, it's $500. Yes, sir, that doesn't include gratuity. Oh, no, it doesn't. Here's a tip. Don't play the ponies there, Ahmad. Give him another C note. A C note on top of the $5. $600. $600 fucking dollars. Town car was $200 out of weight. $700. Anyway, so it's wonderful to be comfortable. So we got and I'm $700 in the hole, but we're gonna be on TV. I'm gonna get my girlfriend on television. She's a school teacher. Okay. We drive down to the Rachel Ray studio. Get to the studio, and I know they taped 2 shows in one day. Rachel's still on the wrapping up show 1. I figured we'll be on show 2. The stage manager says, Artie, I thought we were expecting you. Sit here in front of next to the camera. We'll get to it. She wraps up the show. They clap. The audience gets out. They're going to load the other audience in. Rachel sees us. Come on over. So now it's in between shows. It's me, Rachel Ray, her husband, who's also a fan, and the stage manager, and the other crew, and Dana, my girlfriend, and the $500 haircut.
Well, $600 because you tipped.
$700.
Or something.
Well, it's $800 with the town car. So there's a $15 cab ride down there. So it's $815. 20 with the $820. So now,
No Uber.
so now I go, what's going on? And we just small talk. She gets on a roll. Rachel Ray gets on a roll. Cuts the roll. Starts making salami sandwiches. Brings out a thing of salami, starts cutting. She's making salami sandwiches. And I figure that's for the crew or something, you know. We didn't eat it all because we're going to eat on television. She slides the salami sandwiches over to me and Dana. But go ahead, eat up. And she starts eating one too. I go, well, we're going to save our appetite for the show. She goes, what? She goes, when we eat on the show, we're excited to be on the air. We want to be hungry when we eat on the air. So now Rachel looks over and thinks I'm kidding, and then she realizes I'm not kidding, and then a look of horror comes over Rachel Ray's face. And then the stage manager comes over, and the director of the show comes over, and they start whispering stuff to each other, and they realize what's happening, and then I realize what's happening. We're not going on the show. There are no guests on 30-Minute Meals. We were invited just to have lunch with Rachel Ray in between shows. Salami sandwiches. Okay? Now, my girlfriend, thank God, is not TV savvy.
Mustard or mayonnaise?
Mustard, of course.
Oh.
Mayonnaise, what am I fucking from Ohio? So, that's Cherry Hill. So that's a Cherry Hill Italian. So I say, now my girlfriend doesn't realize what's happening because she's not show business savvy. She's not a Jew. And she doesn't know what's going on yet. And I'm like, oh my God, how am I going to tell her this? And then I realize she just got a $500 hairdo to have a salami sandwich. with the key grip. And now Dana, again, some of you guys remember, Dan doesn't, but the Joe met Dana a couple times. Dana is from a Patterson ghetto, an Italian ghetto. She was adorable, sexy as hell, very smart, funny, but when she yelled at me, she sounded like Andrew Dice Clay. You fat fuck! What do you mean the car ain't fucking ready? The moolies in my class need sneakers. Dan, you all right? Dan's afraid to get
Who's that fucking guy in the crowd? Sorry.
Dan's afraid to get another job.
Dressed
That's
like
his son.
Abe Lincoln, though. Who
That's
was
his
that guy?
son. Oh, anyway, Joe doesn't know what Trump's son's
Really?
So I now I'm saying, how am I going to tell Dana this? So Rachel Ray comes over and goes, so guys, I said, I'm sorry, it's my fault. And Dana's like, what's your fault? When's the show start? And I go, Rachel Ray starts to tell him, like, I'll tell her. And it's so awkward. I go, yeah, you guys, are we not, I'm getting the vibe we're not going on the show. She goes, no, God, no, we don't have guests on the show. I thought you just wanted to come have lunch. First of all, very self-important thinking that. You know, look, I mean, I wasn't an A-list star, but I worked with Howard. I know a lot of famous people. No, I wasn't thrilled about having lunch with you, Rachel. I wasn't falling over myself to have lunch with a chick with a cooking show. I thought we were going on the show with my girlfriend to talk about it, but I didn't say that. I was thinking it. So Dana goes, we're not going on. She goes, no. Now, Dana wasn't upset. She was just upset how embarrassing it looked. She looked ridiculous. She had a $500 haircut. She did look stupid. But I look stupid for doing. I said I forced her. I told her she was going on the air. She goes, Artie, how could you do that? Now Rachel Ray is so embarrassed. So embarrassed. It was very awkward. I barely got down the Dana salami sandwich. I ate hers. On the way home. So I ate my salami sandwich. By the way, which was amazing on a Portuguese roll. Holy shit. I tried to cheer up Dana. Go, it's a good salami sandwich. Go, shut up. So we sit down, and they go, well, you want to watch the second show? I'm like, what? So I'm like, no. But to be polite, we watched 10 minutes of the next show. And she goes, let's get the fuck out of here. I go, yeah, I'm not watching this. I'm in television. I work on TV. I'm more famous than this broad. At the time I was. So we leave. She is livid. You know how ridiculous I look? What are you doing? I said, well, you thought there were guests too. She goes, how could you? I go, you're in show, but how could you not? Argued the whole fucking way. Angriest blowjob I ever got. And yeah, but she was funny when she yelled at me. Oh my God, she was funny. She didn't come home with me. The next 2 hours I was going, hey, anybody, hey, you want to get a salami sandwich with Oprah? For 2 weeks. Hey, can we get raviolis with Dr. Oz? She's very funny. That was it. She said, we get a raviolis with Oprah. That's what she said. So the next day I go on Stern. This is the great thing about being on Stern. I tell the whole story. Howard gets mad at Rachel Ray, which is the best. He goes, this broad has a cooking show. What does she think? You want to have lunch with her? She gets all embarrassed. She's afraid of the Stern steamroller coming her way. She calls up and apologizes to me and Dana and sends Dana, it's very nice, sends Dana a $500 gift certificate to Frederick Vergara. I go, I want the cash. What the fuck? What's the next event she's going to get a $500? The next wedding we had. No, we broke it. No, we broke up. No, she probably used that after.
Oh.
She probably went to a wedding with
That's
some guy
the
she was
worst.
dating after me.
Oh, really?
I bet she went to a wedding with a guy she was dating after me and used that fucking thing. I'm just really, I'm realizing that now.
Maybe she regifted it.
I bet she did. In July of 2016, I'm realizing that.
It's a great regift.
Motherfucker. She got me. Well, that wasn't bad. The next girlfriend had a $40,000 ring she walked out. I'm losing a lot of money. So, yeah. So I had a history of Rachel Ray. So now I find out that Rachel Ray's on a show. They wrote her in not knowing that. And I have a whole scene with her. And I told, this is great about doing the show. I told Judd and Pete Holmes this story. And Judd goes, can we just do that? I go, I don't care. And Rachel Ray loved it. So in the show, we argue about the story.
Really?
In the episode of Crashing, I argue, we tell that whole story. And, we argue about it. I go, I thought you had guests. Yeah, we didn't have guests.
And then you make out with her?
We hug. And no, that doesn't.
That would have been hilarious.
But she was actually funny in it. She was being condescending because I have a new show. And I go, yeah, because we have guests on this show. I go, can I be on this show? She's like, oh, yeah, sure. I go, what, on today? Can I call? She goes, I'm friends with Howard and Beth. I go, I'm not. Can I get their number? We improvised 3 scenes. They loved every one of them. So it's all about, the whole episode's about that story. That's what was great about working. That's an example of this show. That's what was working with Apatow. Was like, he goes, we're just going to do that. So it's great. The Albany thing, I got to make out with Gershon. I should have wrote it. She blew me the chick. It's fun. So, they called up and said, would Dan want to be himself? The podcast, talk about promotion for this podcast. This podcast is on an HBO show.
Are you getting to say the name of your podcast in the episode?
Yeah.
That's
Marty
awesome.
Quarter Podcast. It's going to be underneath. The whole time.
And they made a little place that looked like your apartment, right?
They built my apartment.
Would it look just like this?
No. They could get the view. But I offered them in the beginning. I said, you could use my apartment for a fee. No, they built an apartment on a soundstage.
Are you supposed to live in Hoboken on the show?
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
Nice.
It's me. It's the character's me. A lot of my stand-ups on the show, Judd lets like 8 minutes. There's 2 different episodes where like a solid 8 minutes are shot of my stand-up.
Did they put any other characters from your life on the episode?
Dan?
I mean,
No. Not yet.
they just scripted you as
like
a guy that lived alone.
Season 2.
Season 2, Dan's your roommate.
If there's a season 2, they basically are saying I'm, put it this way. It's very exciting what could happen if it gets picked up. But I'm sure the show's going to be great. I might be left out like a lot of other things. But for now, it's a very positive thing. It's a very positive thing.
When's it premiere?
It's supposed to be in February.
February.
And believe me, because of Judd, him being involved, they love him and they should. The guy is he's amazing to work with. The guy's Dan didn't get to see him, but he directed 2 of the episodes I was in. And I'm in the finale. And right now, the last shot you see is a shot of me doing something I can't reveal. But it's kind of funny. And It's one of those things. As a comic, I can't even be cynical about it. There's nothing negative about this experience. It just was like a lottery win, and I didn't think it was going to happen. It just fell into my lap, like a lot of things happen in show business.
And I stayed away from it most of the time, but the crew said that you're amazing in it. So,
well, thank you, Dan. No, the crew actually the crew are a bunch of nice guys. Everybody was pleasant. Everybody's at the top of their game at a show like that. Like the hair people are like the best in the world. My hair never looked better. And God, did I steal swag. I'm wearing an outfit right now from Chris. Leather jackets. So not only did I rap, the whole season rap yesterday. And they're all excited. So the rap party is tomorrow. And I'll be going. And a lot of the ladies are going to let their hair down, I think. Some
we
hot
get
chicks.
that gift certificate back. Maybe we can.
Well, yeah, I'm sure she spent it. I think Joe's right.
Are you still single? I mean, that's a good spot to bring a girl, right?
Yeah. Dana my new Dana Filano is coming. Well, no, I know I have a little lady in mind.
You could ask someone.
Oh, well, a chick broke up with me. Did I tell this on the air? I didn't. She hasn't listened. I told you.
You got dumped?
The chick. I didn't know we were dating.
No, you didn't tell me.
I started seeing a girl that I was bringing to the hotel to bang because Dan's here. So
I tell him you can come here. I don't care.
But I don't want you here with your cams out. What am I going to tell the chick? You're going to sit in that room and you're like creeped out. No, I'd rather go. I don't want to know. You know what I'm talking about.
Yeah,
right?
I know. I know.
You met her.
But you did not tell me
that. I met a chick. Again, I was making every mistake, though. Adorable, 26 years old. I met her at the cellar.
She worked there?
No. She came by. And I'm getting this sentence a lot. My father is a fan.
Oh, my God.
Swear to God. Well, I bet he's going to be excited when you tell him the story of you blowing me. Anyway, one of these millennials, she was from California.
So she breaks up.
Well, I don't know. Like, she thought a lot was going. We had fun. Dan came on a kind of double date that we had. Me and Dan had. Whatever. I can't get into whatever. But she was. I found myself making every mistake I made before with a chick, but I didn't want to know where I lived. Every text, Joe, ends in a hip hop term. She comes from a lot of money. Went to a prominent school on the West Coast. Her father must be happy that every text ends with, like, she was brought up in the Marcy Projects next to Jay-Z and Nas. Okay, we're going to do that tonight. That would be dope. I thought I'd write you where we're chilling later. Can I come by the set? She came by the set once. Within 2 minutes, she's demanding a blanket. The fucking production assistant goes, "Who's this asshole you're dating?" I go, yeah. I go, "You can't order the people around. What are you, my wife?" Oh, she had eyes on me. You know that song by Elton John, "Someone Saved My Life Tonight"? Yeah. The production assistant. "Someone saved my life tonight. Sugar Bear."
She almost had you hooked.
Dan, I was going to sing that part. Just don't help. That's when he makes a noise. That's when he makes a noise. What makes you think I wanted you to say that? Pour my heart out before you're sitting there like an oil painting.
So how long were you dating her? 2 months,
I mean,
3
dating
months?
was even a strong word.
How long did you know
I
her?
met her in December.
And it just ended recently?
So what happened was I wouldn't take her. She never saw my place, so she was upset. I kept taking her to this hotel. A nice hotel. A Trump hotel, actually. I'd say, what I can say it's a hotel. Trump Soho Hotel. Beautiful, right by the Holland Tunnel.
Weekends or weeknights?
Any night, every night. I'm a comedian every night. I was like,
Every night.
I would have a spot at the cellar. I was working a lot of late nights, what they call in the business splits. Noon to midnight on the set. And I'd go, come by. She lived in Brooklyn. She would come over. She was so excited to be on the set. She would bring her friends. It's a fucking Apatow HBO. She loves Judd Apatow. How embarrassing. But he knew the deal. You know. So but I kept her very isolated from those people. It was very sneaky. But she was like, I get the feeling, I was always making every mistake I made before with a younger girl. I'm like, this is not going to work. I know it's not going to, but they're so soft. They feel so soft. She had a tomboy thing going on, like a very. She was very soft, tan, very not me.
What do you mean not?
Let's just calm down.
What do you mean not you?
Yeah, she's not disgusting like me.
Oh.
In no way, me. There's that one thing we have in common. No, but her father is a fan. I would afterwards. I said, let's hang out. Go to. I never wanted to go out to a bar, so let's just go to a hotel. Hang out. Your friends could come, and then I would say no.
Why is it the younger the girl is, the more friends they want to bring?
Oh, yeah, because they're in that mode.
All girls don't bring a friend.
Well, I want to get mad at her, but then I realize she's 26. You know what I mean? Like, fine. She wants to have fun. I'm like, I don't want to go to a club. Like, first of all, let's just assume I want to go. The music is awful that you like. It's terrible, unlistenable. And then, the one time I did go out, like, people are recognizing me. I go, yeah, well, I was on the Howard Stern show. People do see me. Like, I'm not an A-list star, but it's a pain. The type of fans I have are pains in the asses. I'm approachable. I'm not like Bruce Willis. They're not afraid of me. They will get me in a headlock. She goes, oh, the people, like, do you know those guys? No, I don't. That's the point I'm making. I don't know them. Well, how did they know you got a parking ticket in Chicago once? Because I said it on the fucking radio. I forgot I got a parking ticket in Chicago. They know more about me than I do. The thousands of hours of bullshit I said in 8 years on that show. Some people listen a little too carefully, by the way. They're scary.
I was going to say, have you ever had the fan that kind of scared you because they were such fans?
Ever have. It's insane.
If you're nice back to them, they take it wrong sometimes.
You can't engage them.
I'm dumb.
They're like coyotes.
Yeah.
They know too much. They're like, hey, remember you had the flu in 2004? No.
I always wonder.
They just played it back. That's the big thing. Because Howard plays those old shows. They take requests. It's all the years I was there. And I do stand-up gigs now. They yell out shit. I think, like I did it that morning. I don't remember. You yell it out.
I always wonder if, what's his name, the guy who killed John Lennon? Paul Michael Chapman? Is that it? What was his name?
I'm going to let you guess it.
What was the guy's name who killed John Lennon? Mark David Chapman. Right. Now, what did I say? Paul Michael.
Let's just move on.
But I always wonder if, like, John Lennon was, like, maybe a couple times too nice to the guy, and then he fucking psychoed out.
Here's the thing. He wasn't nice to the guy. That's this guy. This guy was the opposite. There's two. He felt Lennon snubbed him the last time.
Right.
He wasn't nice enough, is the point.
But he was nice at one time?
I don't think so.
He was never nice.
Wait. You know what, Joe? I want to make sure I get this right, because I think he had the album Double Fantasy, which just came out, or he was recording Double Fantasy. I don't. But an album had just come out, and I think Lennon signed it for him, right? Or no. Did Lennon sign his copy of Catcher in the Rye? In other words, he gave Lennon twice.
I thought it was the album.
Lennon left.
I think it was the album.
The Dakota.
Yeah,
to go to a recording session. Mm-hmm. At about 7, David Chapman was there then, wanted to kill him, but didn't because Lennon was nice to him. I think that's it. And signed something.
The day before that.
No,
right?
The night.
Oh, because I thought they had a meeting the day before that.
I'm almost positive it was earlier in the night. Lennon left.
It was earlier in the night,
right?
Yes.
And he waited for him to come back. So Lennon, I think Lennon did something to engage him earlier, and signed, I think, an album for him. But he had a copy of Catcher in the Rye. That was the whole thing that inspired him. You remember that part of it?
Yes.
So he had a copy of Catcher in the Rye, and he had the album. I think Lennon signed the album. He waits, talk about obsession with the other crazy fans, like 7-8 hours at the Dakota. Doesn't even leave the corner, I think. Because the two women who were also super fans testify because they talked to him all night. Lennon comes back. He ditched the gun under a gargoyle. He wasn't going to do it. Lennon comes back right before he's going to bail and not go. And Lennon snubs him. And he goes and gets the gun and shoots him in the back. Yells out, "Hey, John." He turns around and bam. 5 times. Because he snubbed him the second time. Does that sound right to you, Dan?
Yes, it was Double Fantasy. And then that's because that photographer took a picture. Lennon was being so nice to the guy.
Right. So he signed his album, and then when he came back, I think he wanted him to sign the book or something. And Lennon just, because it was late or whatever, he might have been tired, he just wished Yoko out of the limo. And when he snubbed him, David Chapman gets the gun again, and It must have been Lou. How could he do that? He gets right, and it's so eerie. You could go and stand where Chapman stood shooting him. You can still do it. It hasn't changed. You could. It's on. You come to New York. It's on West 72nd Street and Central Park West. That's where the Dakota is. It was called that because when it was built, the mayor at the time, who I believe was Jimmy Walker or LaGuardia, it might have been Mayor LaGuardia, said it was so far north, you might as well put it in the South Dakota. Because it was so far up, nothing was up there at the time.
Right.
So that's why it's called the Dakota. It's an apartment building that used to be a hotel, and Lennon had a whole floor. And Yoko still lives there, which is very eerie. It's rich Manhattan people. I've been in there once. I looked at a condo when I was looking at apartments when I came back before I started on Stern, just to see it. I wasn't going to buy in there. And a realtor took me up there. Very dark and eerie. But you could stand where Chapman stood, basically. He went after he thought he stubbed him and said, "Hey, John." Lennon turns around and bam, 5 fucking times before one of the doorman tackled him. And the door, he said, it's described as a doorman station, was right there. And if you go, it's right there. It's a foot from him. How did he get 5 shots off before? I guess the guy might have been scared. Who knows? But the doorman was very upset. You could tell. A lot of people think the doorman saved Yoko's life because they think she was right next to him.
Oh,
You know,
there's something with
he had loaded fire, but you're right. He did do something nice to him, and he stayed. If Lennon might have snubbed him, then he might have went away or something. I don't know.
But it's a shorter version of what I'm talking about. It was like a nice once and then not nice another time, and then fucking let's kill you.
Terrible. Yeah, so but again, and look, the Stern fans, the radio fans have the reason I'm, I have a comfortable life right now. The reason I'm on this show. I mean, everything I have is because I had run the gamut with a career. I had a couple years on a sitcom, a sketch show, movies that tanked. I had done everything. I was probably going to go on the road and do stand up when I could. And the Stern thing again, like this stuff, I've been very lucky, to tell you the truth. But so God bless the fans of Howard. I love them all. There's a small percentage though. They're like, well, Joe's. They think if I do something they perceive as arrogant, or like I'm not a regular guy. Like, who the fuck you think you are? Forget it. Thank God they don't have a gun in the catch with their eye. And when you talk to them on the radio, they're very intimate fans. They do remember shit. But I'm not as ties into this girl, but maybe her father was that kind of fan. So anyway, the joke of this is I kept seeing her at hotels.
Mm-hmm.
And about 2 weeks ago, I do a spot at the Cellar, and I say I'm going to meet her there. And at the hotel, I go there, and she's like crying. I go, "What's the matter?" She goes, "It's very hard for me to say. I hope." And she goes, "I don't want to see you anymore." I go, "What's the matter?" She goes, "I want to break up." I break up. What are we? Something? What are we? I got to know what we were. I was putting my rubber on. In my head, I'm going, I had to get the room first? Like, because she didn't want to do anything. Like, saying nothing. Which told me that she was very easy for her. She wasn't overwhelmed with wanting to fuck me.
So she said she wanted to end it, but she still wanted to hang out with you that night.
No.
She
left the hotel room.
Oh, she told you at the hotel.
Yeah.
Oh.
And then hugged me and cried and left. She thought I'd be upset.
No reason.
No, she thought I'd be upset. I was so crazy. I called Attell, who wanted me to go on stage with him, and said I could come on stage with you now.
Oh God.
I went back for the late show, left my jacket at the hotel, I was on stage with Attell for an hour, telling the story. Went back at 3 a.m., got my jacket and went home, $400. I got to take a piss.
This is the greatest podcast ever. So you met this girl, huh, Dan?
Yes.
Nice? Like her?
Very pretty.
Couldn't tell?
Very cute. No, I didn't talk to her all that much.
Yeah.
I don't like to get involved.
Yeah. I could never I don't know.
I learned enough living with Mark Grace. I just didn't want to. I don't want to get involved with relationships.
Yeah.
Then all of a sudden they're crying to me and they're texting me, and I just can't.
Yeah.
I can't do that anymore.
I couldn't. I would just fucking hate a 26-year-old. You could probably have sex with him once, and That would be hard.
Trump is still talking, man.
He's still, yeah, what's this, like a 3-hour speech?
I know.
It's unbelievable. He's fucking dressed like a Rodney Dangerfield. Has anyone ever made that comparison yet? He's got the exact Rodney outfit on. Is he fucking around? Jesus Christ.
Hey, he
scared me.
On Thanksgiving in 2012, he told me that he was having a heart attack and he couldn't get a hold of anybody.
And he was
I
kidding?
I was at a movie. The movie was Goon. Remember that movie? It was about a hockey player that like beat up
No. I would totally go see
yeah,
Goon.
I think it was that's what it was called.
Goon.
And like 15 minutes into it, Artie called me and said, I'm having a heart attack. And he said, whatever you do, don't call my mom or my sister. I don't want them to know. But I can't drive and I can't get a hold of anybody. And I'm like, well, call the fire department. No, I don't want. I want to go to a special hospital because I'm a celebrity. And I bought the entire thing. I hopped into a cab. It was $60. Thanksgiving, I got over here in like 10 minutes, and I opened the door, and he's fucking laughing his ass off. This is when I have my apartment, 65th and 3rd. About how you fit. He said, was he kidding with the nose? And I said, no. And I told him the story about oh, yes, you were kidding. I told him a story about the heart attack when you faked it when I was
April Fool's Day. He said Thanksgiving. I walked out, he said Thanksgiving.
Oh, I'm sorry. April Fool's Day. I meant Thanksgiving.
Yeah, Thanksgiving's kind of a little different than April Fool's.
April Fool's Day.
That's the greatest
Sorry.
April Fool's joke ever. You got you to
I don't
come
know why I
all the
was
way
thinking
here. That's hilarious.
It was April Fool's Day. I got it. We were doing the show. You thought that was Thanksgiving. What a terrible storyteller. No, it was April Fool's Day. I don't know. You remember the year. I don't know why. But the greatest thing is, what movie did you get out of? What movie were you seeing?
Goon.
With the one with the hockey comedy with Sean William Scott. Dan sees every movie. That is astonishing. You do see every film.
I love movies.
I know, but who goes see Goon with the guy from Stifler from American Pie? Was it good? You know it's going to suck. Give your Ghostbusters review.
The worst. One of the worst movies I've ever seen in my entire life. I did not laugh
You just know it's going to be bad,
Well,
right?
why don't you look at the review? I look at reviews before I
take
go
them
see
seriously.
movies.
Well, I had to.
Sometimes with a comedy, they'll be wrong. But, Ghostbusters, that's one of those things where
those kind
there's
of
no
comedies.
chance it was good. Like, from the time they announced it, you go, this is going to suck.
All girls in Ghostbusters. Yeah, let me go check that out.
But Paul Feig has had some good.
Not his fault, man.
Right.
He gave him an unwinnable task.
You-
Gave him an unwinnable task. It's like, it's going to be a big... I bet he tried his best, It's a special effects. Paul Feig is a Freaks and Geeks guy.
Yep.
He's a
I love
talented
that
guy. But it's,
Because it's a sequel, it's going to suck. It's like Bad News Bears. It's like you can't go.
And
It's not-
Well, Bad News Bears, my God. The remake of that.
Oh,
Tanner doesn't say the N-word.
I don't even bother.
Tanner doesn't say the N-word. Tanner doesn't say the classic phrase, Jews, Spicks, niggers, and now a girl.
Dumb and Dumber, the
Chinks,
second,
Chinks.
the Dumb and Dumber sequel.
Jews, Spicks, niggers, and now a girl. It was in the trailer, that's right.
In the trailer. I played it on my podcast 2 weeks ago. It's in the trailer.
Unbelievably great. Yeah, right. And then, of course, the remake of Arthur. With
Did
Russell
they
Brand.
remake Arthur?
Russell Brand.
Oh,
Russell
Russell Brand. That's right.
Let's get a guy way less funny than the original guy and take every good joke out of it. That'll be good. You know why it'll make work? Because this generation wouldn't know a fucking funny joke if it crawled up their millennial ass and built a fucking camp.
I'm trying to think if there's ever been a sequel to a great comedy that actually was good.
Well,
Or a remake.
Cannibal Run 2.
That maybe not sequel, if like remake, where they just do it again.
No, you're right.
Never, right?
I don't think so. They did Slapshot again. Terrible. With Stephen Baldwin and the Paul Newman part. There's a good trade.
I didn't even know they did that.
There's a good trade.
Why would they do that?
You dick licks.
You can't do it with TV shows either. I'm sorry. I'm not watching The Odd Couple.
I agree with you. Yeah, Matthew Perry for Jack.
I'm not
Matthew
watching that.
Perry for Jack Klugman. That makes the Herschel Walker Minnesota Dallas trade look like the greatest thing of all fucking time.
Back to Rick Dorfman. That poster was hanging in one of our meetings. I guess the production company made that movie.
What poster?
Made that show, the new Odd Couple.
Oh, God.
And I look at Rick and I go, That's not good, right? And he goes, oh, it's good numbers, good numbers.
He doesn't know what he's talking about.
I'm like, but there's no way it's good. Like, if you're not, as a comedian, going, we got to get the writer for the remake of The Odd Couple. That's the guy I want.
Know. Well, listen, Matthew Perry, I can't stand, but Tom Lennon, who plays Felix, very, very talented guy. But again, those guys they're losing before they even start. But look, Ghostbusters made what? Well, actually, the numbers are pretty bad on Ghostbusters compared to what the budget was. But look, I mean, look, we've been talking a while. Here's my point about your special, Joe. Here's how I would sell it. First, I'm gonna go back to your situation there, because you did.
There's no special. There's no situation.
You did
with
hit I'm not talking about special. I'm talking about. You did hit a big thing with finding someone passionate about your product, because it's hard for anybody to find that. Think about that. She saw it. She wants to be. My point is with the special, and that it's the same thing. Like, I would sell it by going, like, what Rick doesn't get is, I would look at it and go, guys, here's a pro. Here's a guy who, like, all these young people with 2 minutes, guy code. This is a professional comic. This is a guy who knows what he's fucking doing. Like, look, he's just got confidence. The jokes, everything. Like, don't, isn't that refreshing? Like, sell it like that. Well, and then this thing you're going, this woman, you already like it. Like, sell you. Sell the fact that you've been making a living in comedy for a long time, which means you probably got something going on. And you want to manage to take that angle, be passionate, and it's frustrating.
They just can't. For some weird reason, they just can't. It would be like if Jerry Seinfeld, when they started making Seinfeld, was giving Julia Louis-Dreyfus and Jason Alexander and Michael Richards acting tips. He was smart enough to go, I'm going to not say shit. I'm going to let them do what they do.
Exactly.
I'm not telling them how to. Like, he should just be like, Joe, pitch what you, because
why not? And I'll get out of the way.
I was almost tempted to go, yeah, I can write it. I was tempted to go, you don't even need to go find the writer, like, because I know the writer's not going to be good, because if he's great, he's probably not coming on to this project because there's not enough money. We're not getting.
Well, you never
I don't know if we're getting an amazing writer.
Well, times are so weird that
could you get
one?
one?
You never know who's available. You never know who's available.
I know I'm available. Why not make as much money as I can? I start to think in my head.
Think about it. We're pushing 50. It's like, this is the last hurrah. The 40 was a blink of an eye. 60, if that's a blink of an eye. When you're 60, you're looking at, okay, maybe if you're lucky, you get Peter Boyle situation, or everyone loves Raymond or something. Who cares? You're 60.
I don't know. I wrote the 13 web series episodes, I think.
That's great.
If I wrote those with I had another guy. I mean, I wrote them with the guy. With somebody else, so I'm like, why don't we just write the fucking show?
Pitch for you. Look, sell you, man. Sell the fact that you're doing this for a long time, and you're good at you got to be good at it. And and this woman is, believe me. Take this woman's rope that she's throwing you here, because it proves that she is a woman in a position to make decisions where you are, and if she likes it. It's got to have something going on, because she does know her business, and it's great that she's that passionate about it, and just fucking go with it.
This is how negative of a thinker I am.
Go with it.
As soon as I find someone like that, and they get excited and they're involved, and the ball feels like it's going to roll, I go, I hope she doesn't die. Yeah. I start thinking like that. She's going to die.
Yeah, I'm that way too. Well,
I'm nuts.
You're like Raging Bull too. Remember Raging Bull when Joe Pesci says, "Well, the good thing is you're going to get the title shot unless Tommy dies." What do you mean die? Unless he dies. Was he sick? No, I'm just saying. Was something wrong with him? No, nothing. It's exactly what you just said. You remember that scene?
No, I know the movie well.
Tommy Como, the mob guy. LaMotta throws the fight. He does what the mob wants. The mob wants to make money off him, so they get a good fight for him to throw. They make a bunch of money because he throws the fight. He's all upset he threw the fight, but when he gets out of the emotional coma of throwing the fight, they're eating a sandwich. It's a 2-shot of them eating a sandwich at the table at the house in the Bronx in the kitchen. And Pesci goes to De Niro. He goes, well, the good thing is at least, now you get the title shot. Now Tommy's going to help us get the title shot. And De Niro goes, okay. He goes, Tommy's going to help us. I mean, unless he dies or something. Just like a throwaway line. De Niro goes, what do you mean dies? I might make sure I don't die. What was something wrong with him? No, nothing's wrong. He's sick. No, he's not sick. I'm just saying. And that's how we
Well, that's great writing too. When you have something that's like
the way of an improv.
a little bit weird that like someone else could also be weird and actually think, and you're smart enough to know to put it in the script.
No, I know.
Like, you know what part I only thought I did shit like this, and I watched in Raging Bull, and I was
Right.
like, holy shit! I guess a lot of people do this. When he's trying to take the jewels out of the heavyweight belt,
Hit him with the hammer.
and he hits him with the hammer, and you remember what happened?
The plate's full of
The plates fall, and he blames his wife.
Blames his wife, yeah.
What he's doing.
because she doesn't attach the plates better. Can't you put the plates so they don't fall?
That was something I thought only I did. I only thought I blamed somebody else for shit that I did.
So amazing you brought that part up because think about how distorted and evil his mind works. He goes, can't you make the plates so they don't fall? That's what he says. Okay. Actually, yeah. No, you know what, sweetie? When I was putting the plates up, I didn't assume someone would come in and smash a hammer insanely hard into a boxing belt right next to them. An inch. I didn't plan on an enormous man, overweight boxing champion, to take a huge hammer and hit the jewels out of a boxing belt 1 inch from the plates. I didn't figure that into a scenario.
And even more hilarious is that he makes the belt worth less money. And I guess you find out a couple scenes later,
Mr.
the guy
LaMotta,
goes, why aren't the jewels in here?
Mr. LaMotta, the actual belt is amazing. The jewels these are jewels, but these are the gems from the belt. Yeah, I know, but the actual belt of a champion is a rare item. Like I give it back. Okay. You tell me you're not gonna go around a block and get fucking more money for these? You're not gonna get 10 grand around a block for these? No, I'm not. No, yeah, whatever the fuck. All right, give me the 2 grand. Then he ends up taking. You're not gonna. You know, give me the 2 grand.
Did Scorsese write Raging Bull? Is that adapted off a book?
He's got it. Yeah, so adapted off Raging Bull.
It is.
By
It was.
Jake
It was
LaMotta.
called Raging Bull, the book.
Jake LaMotta wrote the book. It's his biography.
See, Dan laughs, but like
Well,
Goodfellas
he said
wasn't
that- he
called
said
he
that-
laughs a little
Goodfellas.
stupid shit. I
You
was
said
doing
the
a
thing
a
about
bit-
flight earlier in the podcast.
I said somebody else thought that, not
so
me.
that's why I laughed.
Oh, I thought you were laughing because
He laughs at stupid
sometimes they,
He
when
doesn't laugh at
you
shit
adapt a movie, sometimes they change the title
Yeah.
when they adapt it off the book.
I said something funny before. He just looks at me and stares, and then like that he laughs at.
But it's someone famous for writing Raging Bull.
Jake LaMotta.
He wrote it himself.
No, but he's got the credit.
I was gonna say.
I'm sure he had a ghostwriter. But in other words, no. What happened was,
But like
the
Nicholas
story's insane.
Pileggi wrote.
I understand. I understand. It's a very different situation.
Yeah.
But no, he was a brilliant writer who Scorsese collaborated with. Scorsese has the writing credit on that too, with Pileggi on The Goodfellas. But Jake LaMotta's book, Raging Bull, I believe the ghostwriter, he disappeared. It was a long time in between writing the book and doing it.
Really?
What happened was, it's a great story. I've read in a couple of books, so it's got to be true because different people tell it from both sides. It's the same thing. Scorsese, after a film called New York, New York in 1977, it's a film he did after Taxi Driver, bombed, miserable. He went into a big depression, and he started hanging out with the band, Robbie Robertson, and he made a documentary called The Last Waltz, which is arguably the best music documentary ever. It's so amazing. It's about their last show ever, the band, at the Winterland Theater in San Francisco. Thanksgiving Day.
Just like your April Fool's
Right.
joke.
This is actually Thanksgiving Day. 1976 is the last concert for the band. And because it's their last concert, Bob Dylan comes, Neil Young comes, Joni Mitchell comes, Dr. John. It's an insane lineup. They all come and do a song. And Scorsese directs it. And on top of filming the concert, he interviews the band, Levon Helm and these guys. It's unbelievably amazing. And Scorsese starts doing a lot of blow, a lot of cocaine with the band. And he's living a very decadent life. That comes out. It's heralded, but he's got to go to the hospital. He went to the doctor. The doctor said, "You don't have any mucous membrane. Your brain has a hole in it. Like you're gonna die." So he's in the hospital a long time. Then he goes to a very deep depression, and he won't get out of the hospital. De Niro reads Raging Bull in the interim, and thinks this is the prize. This will get Scorsese. Me and Marty have to do this. It's like a mission. He goes, we have to make this movie. He became obsessed with it. So he went to the hospital every day, according to the story, for like a month and said, "This is it, Marty. This will get you out of this. This is the comeback we need. This is going to be a big deal." So Scorsese reads the book in the hospital and loves it. And he writes the screenplay. Scorsese, I think, wrote it with, who else? You know what? Does Paul Schrader have the guy who wrote Taxi? I think Paul Schrader might. Or Google who wrote Raging Bull. Scorsese, without question, has a writer's credit. It's another. He got a couple other iconic guys. De Niro might be a guy. Paul Schrader, who wrote Taxi Driver, might have a credit. But so they make Raging Bull. It bombs, makes nothing. Makes a total of $2 million. It almost ends their career. And then the Academy Awards come out. And it gets nominated, De Niro wins, and that gets him to the next project, which is The King of Comedy. That almost ends their career. Like, all their movies, if not for the Academy Awards and the critics, they would not have
Siskel and Ebert pushed Raging Bull.
Yeah.
That's why he's always been loyal to them.
And the Oscars.
Well, it was black and white, so a lot of people probably wouldn't even want to go see a black and white movie back then.
It was considered an art movie, and it was very dark.
Oh, yeah.
You know.
I can't get I try to get my wife to watch the movie.
They consider it horror. Some people consider it a horror film. But But when I was 11, when it came out, we were 11 or 12.
Uh-huh.
My mother and father, my uncle Vinny Mastercole, I remember going to... on Kenmare Street, right near the Bowery. It's not there anymore. Back when New York was New York. There was a place called... God, I'm going to fucking... It was called somebody's Clam Bar on Kenmare Street. My uncle's going to kill me for not remembering this. Anyway, it was an amazing Italian joint that was like a clam bar. You got like, fried mozzarella with the breading and the hot sauce with the galamad and everything. It was unbelievable. We would go there. My family would go there once a month to eat. Right off the Bowery on the Lower East Side, in the heart of Little Italy when it was really gritty. And I could just remember my father and my cousins and my uncles doing every line from Raging Bull. It made me want to see it so bad because they were laughing their ass off like we're doing right now.
Mm-hmm.
And that was something unique to our New Jersey, you know. In Missouri, it was like like you're describing, a horror movie to people. And I saw it. It became one of those things like The Godfather, you know, where you quoted every line. But critics and the Oscars, if not for them, Scorsese and De Niro would have been working construction.
Well,
that's what it sounds like. You know,
you just brought a memory back for me because I do remember seeing Raging...
Little Charlie's. I'm sorry, Little Charlie's.
Little Charlie's?
Okay, good.
I remember seeing Raging Bull in the movie theater. I don't remember who took me to see it. I think
Dude,
I might have went with a friend and snuck in because it was R-rated.
You had to. You had to because we were.
There's no way my mom took me to see
age?
Raging Bull. I'm the same exact age as you.
Me and you're pretty much the same. So
we're 11 years old.
It came out in '80.
I remember seeing it.
It came out in '80. We were 12.
And it was one of those movies. Scarface was similar.
Right.
For me, though, one of those movies you were seeing it in the theater and you weren't old enough to not be kind of scared by it. For something about Raging Bull, I remember because the fight scenes weren't like a fucking movie. They looked real, and the blood was flying out all over the...
Yeah, that's a couple years after Rocky, you got to remember.
Yeah.
And Rocky was heralded. I think Raging Bull, in some ways, the fight scenes
But I remember that slow, like, the movie starts with that weird music, and like, De Niro's all slow.
And there's a reason for that. The movie is about... Here's the angle that Scorsese takes, and it's not about boxing. It's not even really about Jake LaMotta. It's about obsession. Mm-hmm. He's obsessed with that woman, with Catherine Moriarty.
Right.
He looks at her in slow motion, and he's a sociopath.
Well, that's what was interesting about the OJ documentary, which I told you I just started watching, and you realize in the first episode, and it really ends with her sister, Nicole Simpson's sister, and the interviews are so good in the documentary, and the sister just goes... That's the sad thing. They were in love.
Yeah.
Like it wasn't because they weren't in love. Like it was an obsession. You can just see it. Like he met her, and he looks at his friend and goes, "I'm marrying her." And it was his waitress. Like who says that? I'm marrying that waitress. Just took our order. I'm marrying her.
O.J. Simpson says it because he had coke on him, and she's 18. But but no, Jake LaMotta famously hates the movie. Like he doesn't know what. Because it's an artistic thing. He didn't know what he was doing with it. And Scorsese had similar thoughts about women. And so did De Niro. And that's what they examined it. It's about a guy obsessed with stuff and how it can destroy you. And if you think about it, the obsession he had with her destroys his whole life. You know, the boxing and when he beats the fuck out of that De Niro guy because she likes him. She says he's handsome.
Yeah.
And he just, he ain't pretty no more. I saw him fight this guy, Gennaro. I couldn't believe it. Destroyed this guy. Destroyed him. He knocked his nose from one side of his face to the other. The fucking thing was hanging off.
Well, that's the one thing I got from listening to Lenny Dykstra get interviewed is he seems to come back to pussy destroyed me.
Yeah. Well, everything did. I think he did everything to excess. What's the writer's credit on Raging Bull?
It started off by Madrick Martin, and then the film company wasn't happy with it, and they went to Schrader, and he rewrote it.
So Paul Schrader has the sole writing credit.
Let me double check.
When it says,
But is it
do you understand
adapted?
what he just said? When it says written
The
by
screenplay.
Okay, Dan, Raging Bull, written by. What does it say? The final movie in the movie theater. It said written by who?
Screenplay by Madrick Martin and Paul Schrader.
Okay. So Scorsese doesn't get it. No, wait, Magic Martin might be
Yeah,
a
who's
name
that?
Scorsese used. I'm almost positive Scorsese wrote the screenplay. But Schrader, okay. They went to Schrader, all right. Who's a gay man. Who wrote
Taxi Driver, Raging Bull. What's it? Does he have it? What other credits that guy?
He wrote another. He wrote another. I think. Say it again, Dan. Did you know something else he wrote?
Schrader.
Schrader. No, I think he wrote Main Streets with Scorsese. He was a big collaborator with Scorsese. He's got one other iconic thing.
I want to know if there's a book.
He directed. There is a book, Raging Bull. Sure it
I
is.
want to get this book. Who wrote the book? It's just him by himself.
Haven't we discussed this?
But I want to know who's the writer.
I don't know. I said that before.
But he can
Nobody,
Google it.
Nobody knows. Jake LaMotta has the sole credit on it, I believe. And no, like the guy does it. Jake LaMotta might have had him killed. Who knows? I'm getting credit, bam. Schrader directed something.
Well, he directed one of my favorite movies because it's so creepy.
And of course, you wrote it.
The one about Hogan's Heroes guy.
Right.
Oh yeah.
American folk.
No.
Autofocus.
Autofocus. That is
American
it's the
Gigolo.
creepiest
Isn't he
movie
American Gigolo?
ever. Yeah. Schrader directed
That's
that or
another
wrote it?
great movie.
Schrader directed that or wrote it? Schrader. Richard Gere probably had to blow him.
Oh.
I hope. Yeah, he's a real talented guy, but I know. So I thought Scorsese would be the Magic Martin guy. But I don't-
Schrader wrote an early draft of Close Encounters of the Third Kind.
He was like that go-to guy everybody went to
Jesus.
for a while. Let's wrap this up. What do you got? Plugs, Joe? We'll be 2 hours here. What plugs you got?
I'm just plugging. I just started doing a subscription podcast also.
Oh, good.
And
what do they have to do for that?
they have to go to the easiest thing they just do is go to joematarese.com and click on the subscribe button and start subscribing, and you get more than one episode a week when you subscribe, and then I give them all kind of other free perks that they get when they subscribe. And if you just go to joematarese.com and click that subscribe button, you won't, of course, you didn't put your credit card in yet, you'll see what you get. I don't know. I can't sit here and tell you everything you get. I give them free tickets to any show they want to come
Tickets to
to.
any show. You get.
Dan knows.
Yeah, you get some of your
I give them a
CD.
download of my
they
1 hour
download?
special
Do they
that I
get to
just
hear
did.
me leaving a voicemail?
What?
Do they get to hear me leaving a voicemail? Joe, I love Joe's order like text. Listen, get to a phone right now.
I don't
It's got
say
to be
that.
before 3. I'm sure you're doing nothing.
Right.
Here's specifically what you have to talk about. Within these parameters, I want you to leave a 13-word story about this subject. I want you to leave a 48 story about this subject. If it's over 49, erase it and do it over.
I don't.
This has to be done by 3 p.m.
And
the subject is this specific. It has to be a story about Eastern Philadelphia, between the streets of 48th and Hammond.
If Nick DiPaolo did it, it has to be pretty easy to do
It.
because
And
he won't do anything.
And I
well,
mentioned.
maybe a plumber could do it if it's easy.
And I mentioned to Joe like 6 months ago, I said, listen, it would be nice when you asked me for these tasks to do if you said good morning or something. So the last time for this phone call, you said, can you make sure Artie does this, but that, call this number, and good morning. I thought that was
I
the
did.
funniest. Yeah.
I asked both of you to do it. I said to you, I asked
You
you.
didn't ask me
and
to do it.
Yes, I did.
No, you didn't.
I meant it as I said. I would love for. I said you were Artie. It says it. Go
probably-
read the text.